So collaboration with independent Catholic groups. As I mentioned a little bit earlier, we've been approached by 3 groups within my close to 8 years. I've considered all 3 are not in the best interest. Why? I was considering one group until we had our second contraction, and the bishop who received those individuals was part of the group. Okay, that's a problem. It really is, because if I have people leaving my jurisdiction to go to another without checking with me, because the bishop never checked with me, just accepted them, which is usually not standard protocol. The bishop will call you and say, hey, what's up with these people? Why are they leaving you? This individual never did that. They just accepted them. Well, sorry, reputation. You got one of the bishops that's in your circle who wants to do this. That means, no, we're not going to work together. Sorry. I wish we could, but no. The stringent conditions must be met. That compatibility is key. We have to be cautious, extremely cautious. I've told you why. And reputation can never be compromised. We are not Rome. We cannot let time just let it go away. We cannot ever be rid of it. We are lucky enough that our Castro affiliation in LA was very minor. It wasn't even an affiliation, it was a visitation because he needed a bishop to do confirmations. We went out there 3 times to do that. We never entered into formal agreements. Finally, after the 3rd trip, we talked Larry, hey, if we're going to keep doing this, we need to find out why he wants us there and why won't he join us. And that's when the house of cards fell in. So, my point is, take your time. If they're coming to us, why? What's the reason? Let's wait this out. We're in no hurry. Time is on our side. We have everything to lose and nothing to gain. Unless what we see really makes sense. And friendship versus formal intercommunion. As I said before, it's okay to be in friendship. I know Father Jamie and myself, we have a couple of friends who are bishops around here. But we don't have anything formal. Friendship's one thing. Intercommunion is an official agreement. So what are those criteria? Autocephalous. They must be autocephalous. They have to have valid apostolic succession documented and verified. And the only way that's going to happen is you need to give it to me and I get the research team on it. Because it can take some time. It has to be a post-Vatican II church. They have to have a post-Vatican II liturgy that's all-inclusive. All have to be called to holy orders. 0 tolerance for abuse. And there's a vetting process for clergy. And they have to serve all of God's people, not many of God's people. And a clean reputation. How do you do that? It's real easy nowadays. Type in their name, type in their church, find out what hits. You either go on Facebook, any of those platforms, look at these people. You can find a whole lot about people that you didn't know about before. It's really easy. Nothing's hidden anymore. And then the ideal is that the church is 501c3, because to go through that process in the post-9/11 era is not easy. Churches are looked at a little bit differently. Despite what the media has told and the executive order by our president and all that, 501c3 churches are still scrutinized by the IRS to make sure you're not money laundering for terrorist groups. It's why it became more difficult. Because they found after 9/11 that many of those smaller churches that were of the Middle Eastern descent were funneling money back to terrorist groups. So that 501c3 is really kind of a protection net. So ACCUS collaboration, what does that mean? If any jurisdiction can meet all 9 criteria satisfactorily, you have to ask these questions. How truly compatible are they? Does that collaboration help or hurt the ACCUS and yourselves? What long-term implications are there? Will there be power struggles or hidden agendas? As I said before, one day somebody looks great, another day something switches. As I like to say, we've done this a couple of times with ordinations. They're great up until the ordination. You ordain them, do their thing, and then just like in Star Wars, the dark side hits and they go over. And all of a sudden it's not the same person you ordained. I've seen it. I've been a part of it. I can't believe it, but it happens. So that can happen. And the ACCUS goal should always focus on the ACCUS mission and founding vision. We talked about that yesterday, what the mission statement's all about. But in simple words, love and serve all of God's people and all the other criteria that we had before. It's a lot, but if you want longevity and keep what you have to yourselves, this is the insurance policy. So what was that mission again? To respond to the command of Jesus the Christ with the guidance of the Holy Spirit, to teach, to preach, to sanctify, and to serve. To teach and preach love among all of God's people through the Spirit, or through the Scriptures and the continued revelation of the Holy Spirit, to sanctify all people through the celebration of the sacrifice of the Mass and the 7 sacraments, and to serve all of God's people through the corporal and spiritual works of mercy. That's our mission statement. So you've seen it 3 times in my presentation. Our ACCUS mission back to that founding early church. The early church had no building, no money, and no political influence, and they turned the world upside down. I agree with what Father Jamie had to say yesterday, that organization of people brings in money, and in this day and age you need money to do things. That's why I don't do a lot, because I don't have a lot of money, but that's okay. We're working this out. We're here for the long haul. We're not a short-term church. As you see, the early church struggled too. You read those letters of Paul, and church wasn't all pretty in those early days, and that was hundreds of years. So we're still babies. But in the day of independent Catholicism, and with the money and greed and the churches that we've seen, not even just independent, but out there, some of these evangelicals, who just take the money, get these huge places and airplanes and all this stuff, we have to be cognizant. So that's what I have to say about independent Catholicism and what it does and what it can do. I am open to it. Despite what I said, I'm open to it. But we have to be careful. We just have to be careful. And we have to be sure that what we do and what we collaborate with will be in our best interests. I'd rather have us be the leaders and people come to us because we're compatible versus us seeking out other people who we have to check, because it just makes it easier and cleaner.